The year is 17133. We are not in Rome. We are not in a palace of marble and gold. We are on the frozen edge of civilization. The Danube River, a sheet of black ice, separates the empire from a wilderness of hostile tribes. This is the frontier of the Macromanic Wars, a brutal, decade-long conflict that has bled the Roman legions white. In a damp, cold tent, lit by a single flickering oil lamp, sits the most powerful man in the world. He is Marcus Aurelius, the emperor, the absolute ruler of 60 million souls, from the deserts of Syria to the misty shores of Britain. He is the commander-in-chief of the most lethal army ever assembled. His word is law. His power is, quite literally, absolute. But tonight, he is not writing battle plans. He is not drafting legislation. He is hunched over a simple leather-bound journal, writing in rough Greek, not for an audience, but for himself. He writes, "People try to get away from it all. To the country, to the beach, to the mountains. You always wish that you could too. But this is idiotic. You can get away from it all, anytime you like, by going within." This is the central paradox of the Philosopher-King. Here is a man who possessed everything, wealth, fame, and limitless power. Yet his entire life was a private, relentless quest for something else entirely. Inner peace, virtue, wisdom. The book he was writing was never meant to be published. He would have been horrified to know we are reading it. It was his personal logbook, his private struggle. He simply called it Tais Eaton, to himself. We call it Meditations. This journal is arguably the most remarkable document ever written by a head of state. It is not a polished work of philosophy. It is the raw, unfiltered, and often repetitive self-correction of a man struggling to be good in a world that constantly demanded he be brutal. He is not writing as an emperor. He is writing as a student of Stoicism, a philosophy he adopted as a young man, one that teaches endurance, justice, and the rational acceptance of fate. But why does this 2,000-year-old diary still resonate? Why is it a permanent fixture on the bedsides of modern leaders, athletes, entrepreneurs, and anyone who feels overwhelmed by life? Because Marcus's world, for all its ancient trappings, is our own. He was not a philosopher in a quiet university. He was a man in the arena, facing a relentless barrage of crises. He dealt with the devastating plague that killed millions. He endured constant, draining warfare. He faced economic turmoil and the betrayal of his closest allies. He knew what it felt like to be overwhelmed, stressed, and pulled in 1,000 directions by duty, fear, and the expectations of others. His struggle is our struggle. This documentary is not just a journey into the life of a long-dead emperor. It is an exploration of a timeless, practical blueprint for the human mind. It is a search for the answer to the question that haunted Marcus in his tent on the frozen frontier, and the same question that haunts us in our own lives, amidst our own chaos. How do we build an unwavering mind? How do we find tranquility, purpose, and virtue in a world that seems designed to destroy all three?
Power is not always seized. Sometimes it is a burden, thrust upon an unwilling back. To understand Marcus Aurelius, we must first understand that he never wanted to be emperor. His ambition was not for the throne, but for the mind. Born Marcus Annius Verus in 121 AD, his early life was one of quiet privilege and profound intellectual curiosity. He was a noble, yes, but a sickly and serious boy, one who preferred the company of books to the roar of the arena. His life was set on a completely different course by the Emperor Hadrian. Hadrian, nearing the end of his life, and with no heir, engineered one of the most complex and successful successions in history. He adopted the respected senator Antoninus Pius, but only on the condition that Antoninus, in turn, adopt two sons, the young, charismatic Lucius Verus and the quiet, 17-year-old Marcus. In an instant, Marcus was marked for power, but it was a destiny he dreaded. He wrote, "From my grandfather I learned to avoid the public schools and to have good teachers at home, and to know that on such things a man should spend lavishly." His passion was philosophy. He studied rhetoric, law, and literature, but his heart was captured by Stoicism, a philosophy introduced to him by a man named Junius Rusticus. Rusticus was not just a tutor. He was a mentor who reshaped Marcus's entire worldview. He gave Marcus a copy of the teachings of Epictetus, the former slave who had become a towering Stoic master. From Epictetus, Marcus learned the foundational principle that would guide his entire life: the dichotomy of control. The idea that some things are up to us and some things are not. Our opinions, our choices, our judgments, these are ours. Everything else, our health, our reputation, our wealth, the actions of others, even the fate of the Roman Empire, is ultimately outside our direct control. For a young man who was about to inherit the world, this was not an abstract theory. It was a lifeline. For 23 years, he served as the junior partner to his adoptive father, Antoninus Pius. This period, known as one of the most peaceful in Roman history, was Marcus's true education in leadership. He didn't just study philosophy. He watched a good man rule. Antoninus was not a man of war or dramatic gestures. He was a man of diligence, duty, and stability. He revered him. He wrote in Meditations that from Antoninus he learned gentleness, unwavering adherence to decisions deliberately reached, and the ability to listen to anyone who could contribute to the public good. When Antoninus finally died in 161 AD, he was devastated. The throne, which he had observed from a safe distance for over 2 decades, was now his. He was 40 years old. His first act as absolute ruler was a testament to his character. He refused to accept the power unless his adoptive brother, Lucius Verus, was made his co-emperor. It was an unprecedented act of humility and power-sharing. But the quiet life was over. The philosopher's robe was exchanged for the imperial purple. The days of peaceful study were gone, replaced by the crushing, relentless weight of the res publica, the public thing.
This is the central mystery. How did he do it? How did a man facing plague, war, and betrayal maintain his calm, his compassion, and his sanity? The answer is here, in the book he never meant for us to see. Meditations is not a book of abstract ideas. It is a practical, repetitive, and urgent training manual. Marcus was writing to himself, reminding himself, commanding himself how to think. He was actively, on the page, building what the Stoics called the Inner Citadel, an untouchable fortress of the mind. So how do we build one? Marcus's notes reveal 4 core blueprints. First, the Inner Citadel itself. He writes, "The mind, when it retreats into itself, is invincible." This was his central discovery. He realized that while the world could attack his body, his reputation, his family, and his empire, it could never touch his mind, his hegemonikon, or ruling faculty, unless he allowed it to. He understood that events themselves are not what harm us. What harms us is our judgment about those events. The betrayal of a general is just an event. It is our judgment, "This is ruinous, this is a terrible injustice," that creates the suffering. The modern bridge is this: we do not control the stock market, the traffic, or what other people say about us, but we have absolute 100% control over our first response to those things. The inner citadel is the space between the stimulus and the response. Marcus trained himself to make that space a fortress of rational, calm judgment. Second, the obstacle is the way. This is perhaps the most famous Stoic idea, one Marcus practiced daily. He wrote, "The impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way." He trained himself to see every single problem not as a disaster, but as an opportunity, a chance to practice a specific virtue. The plague was not just a medical crisis, it was a test of his courage and his duty to his people. The betrayal of Cassius was not just a political crisis, it was a test of his forgiveness. The freezing cold of the frontier was a test of his endurance. For us, this is a radical shift in perspective. The difficult client isn't just a problem, they are a test of our patience. The unexpected car repair isn't just a financial hit, it's a test of our resilience and our ability to adapt. Marcus teaches us to look at every obstacle and ask not, "Why is this happening to me?" but "What virtue can I practice because this is happening?" Third, memento mori, remember death. This sounds morbid, but for Marcus, it was the ultimate tool for clarity. He wrote, "You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think." He was constantly reminding himself of his own mortality and the mortality of everyone around him. This was not to be depressing, it was to be liberating. By remembering that his time was short, he gained an almost superhuman focus. It cut through all the trivial nonsense, the petty insults, the desire for fame, the fear of what people thought. Does this matter in the face of my death? Will this anger matter tomorrow or in a week? The modern application is a powerful filter for our priorities. It forces us to stop procrastinating, to tell people we love them, to focus on what is truly essential, and to let go of the rest. Finally, amor fati, love your fate. This is the most difficult and most powerful Stoic concept. It goes beyond just accepting what happens. It means loving it. Marcus saw the entire universe, the Logos, as one single, interconnected, rational whole. Everything that happened, even the terrible things, was a necessary and essential part of that larger whole. To wish for something to be different, to wish the plague hadn't happened, or that Cassius hadn't betrayed him, was to wish for the entire universe to be different. It was, he thought, insane. He trained himself to say yes to whatever life threw at him, as if he had chosen it himself. This is the ultimate expression of the inner citadel. It's an unwavering trust that whatever happens, it is part of a larger, perfect pattern. For a modern secular audience, this isn't about fate, it's about radically accepting reality as it is, without complaint or bitterness. It is the source of true, unshakable peace. These four principles, the inner citadel, the obstacle is the way, memento mori, and amor fati, were the tools Marcus used night after night to forge an unwavering mind.
Philosophy is easy in the classroom. The real test comes in the fire. For Marcus Aurelius, his entire 19-year reign was a trial by fire. The peaceful era of his father Antoninus was a distant memory. His reign was a cascade of relentless, overlapping crises. First came war. Immediately upon taking the throne in 161 AD, the Parthian Empire in the east invaded, threatening Rome's crucial territories. Marcus, the scholar, was forced to become a commander-in-chief, dispatching his co-emperor Lucius Verus to lead the legions. The war was long, costly, but ultimately successful.
But the returning soldiers brought something with them far deadlier than any sword: the Antonine Plague. We now believe this was an epidemic of smallpox. It was an apocalyptic event. The historian Cassius Dio reported 2,000 deaths a day in the city of Rome alone. At its height, the plague killed up to a quarter of the entire population of the empire, a staggering loss of life, perhaps 15 million people. The empire was hollowed out, the economy ground to a halt, the legions were devastated, and fear turned to panic. This was the ultimate test of Marcus's inner citadel. While others fled to the countryside, Marcus stayed in Rome. He refused to abandon his people. He methodically sold off his own imperial treasures, gold, jewels, and priceless artworks, in the public forum to stabilize the economy and fund the recovery. He consulted the best physicians, enforced public health measures, and most importantly, he projected an aura of absolute, rational calm. He could not stop the plague. It was outside his control, but his response was his own. He met chaos with reason and panic with purpose. He had no time to recover. As the plague raged, hostile Germanic tribes, the Marcomanni, the Quadi, saw their chance. They swept across the Danube frontier, deep into Roman territory, even threatening Italy itself. This is what sent Marcus, the 50-year-old philosopher, to the frozen battlefront we saw in our opening. He would spend the majority of his remaining life there, not in a palace, but in a legionary camp, fighting a grinding, brutal war of attrition. It was here, in the cold and damp, that he wrote most of Meditations. But the greatest test was yet to come. In 75 AD, as Marcus was winning hard-fought victories on the frontier, a devastating rumor spread: the emperor was dead. Hearing this, his most trusted and brilliant general, Avidius Cassius, the hero of the Parthian War and governor of the entire East, declared himself emperor. It was the ultimate betrayal. The empire was split in two, plunging it into a civil war, even as the plague and the Northern War still raged. This was not an external enemy. This was a friend. This was a man Marcus had trusted and elevated. This single event had the power to shatter his philosophy. It would have filled any other ruler with rage, paranoia, and a thirst for bloody revenge. And this is where Marcus's Stoicism becomes almost superhuman. His first reaction, as reported by historians, was not rage, but grief. He was sad not that he might lose his throne, but that his friend had fallen so far from virtue, and that he might now be forced to kill him. He gathered his soldiers and gave a speech. He told them he hoped Cassius would not be killed or commit suicide, for, he said, it would be a fine prize to forgive a man who has wronged you. He was using this betrayal as the ultimate opportunity to practice the virtues of forgiveness and justice. He was turning the obstacle into the way. Before Marcus even had to fight, a centurion loyal to him assassinated Cassius and sent his head to the emperor. He refused to see it. He refused to meet the man who killed him. He then systematically sought out and pardoned Cassius's family and all of his co-conspirators. He ordered the Senate to burn all of Cassius's correspondence, unread, so no one else could be implicated. This was not weakness. This was the strength of an inner citadel so powerful, so secure, that not even the most personal betrayal could breach its walls. He met war with courage, plague with resilience, and betrayal with forgiveness. His philosophy was not a theory, it was his shield, and it was his sword. In March of 180 AD, in the military camp at Vindobona, modern-day Vienna, the fire in the emperor's tent finally went out. After a lifetime of service, after holding the civilized world on his shoulders for 19 grueling years, Marcus Aurelius died. He was 58 years old. The man who had written, "You could leave life right now," finally did. His body was returned to Rome, his ashes placed in Hadrian's mausoleum. The empire mourned. The historian Cassius Dio, who lived through that time, wrote that Marcus did not meet with the good fortune that he deserved, but I have admired him all the more for this very reason, that in unusual and extraordinary difficulties he both survived himself and preserved the empire. But in his one great hope for the future, Marcus failed. His philosophy was built on reason, discipline, and self-control. His son and heir Commodus was built on impulse, vanity, and cruelty. The Philosopher-King was succeeded by the gladiator emperor. Commodus's reign was a disaster of debauchery and terror that undid much of his father's work and plunged the empire into a new era of civil war. So, was it all for nothing? Was the Inner Citadel just a private comfort that died with the man who built it? No, because Marcus left two legacies. One was the empire, which is now dust. The other was a private journal, which is immortal. Meditations was never meant to be published. It was preserved, copied by a handful of scholars, and almost lost to history. For centuries, it was a forgotten footnote, but it survived. It was rediscovered by thinkers in the Renaissance, translated, and finally unleashed upon the world. And it has never been out of print. Why? Because it is not a monument to a perfect man. It is a companion to our own imperfection. It is the raw, honest, and timeless voice of a good man trying, a man who felt the same pull of anger, fear, and despair as we do, and who built a practical system to fight back. His echo is everywhere. We see his principles in the cognitive behavioral therapy that helps millions with anxiety. We see his resolve in the entrepreneur struggling to turn an obstacle into an opportunity. We see his calm in the parent patiently dealing with a difficult child. Marcus Aurelius did not save the Roman Empire. It was destined to fall. What he saved was an idea, a powerful, timeless, and profoundly human idea. That our inner world is our own. That virtue is the only good. That we can meet pain with courage, chaos with calm, and our own mortality with a sense of profound, urgent purpose. He failed to create a perfect world, so instead, he left us the blueprint for a perfect mind. In the end, he was not just the ruler of Rome. He became what his teacher Rusticus had hoped for, a philosophos, a lover of wisdom. And he proved that even on a throne, even in a damp tent on the edge of the world, even in the face of total chaos, a human being can, by going within, find a peace that the world cannot give and cannot take away.
Thank you for watching. We post new documentaries on philosophy and history every week. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications.